welcome back to my channel. So today I will be posting the top 10 books that everybody should read. So these books are in no particular order and each book is special because of something that it signifies and something that segregates it from the rest of the crowd. And the first book that I have chosen is The Palace of Illusions by Chitra Banerjee Devakumari. The reason I have chosen this book is that it deals with Mahabharata. This is a fiction book. It is based on Mahabharata and the entire epic is told from Draupadi's point of view. So almost everybody is familiar with the concept of Mahabharata, but even then the author provides a very fresh take on the whole concept, and you start questioning things that you thought for granted, and that is why this is a book that I recommend that everybody should read. The next book that I have chosen is Gabriel Garcia Marquez's Love in Time of Cholera. The reason that I have chosen this book is that I see a lot of love stories that are storming the market these days, and it has the same old thing. There's a guy, there's a girl, one of them falls in love, the other person reciprocates after a while, then there are issues and then sorts out, and so basically the whole line is quite familiar. And when you question that, the only answer that you get is, well, that's how love stories are, and there's only limited things that you can do in love stories. This is one book that is a love story, but it has been narrated so beautifully, and it does not have the same premise. It does not have the same old girl meets boy routine, and this one is so interesting to read and it's just amazing, and that is why this is one book that you should read. The next book that I have chosen is The Thousand Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini. Now, I like Khalid Hosseini's Kite Runner as well, but I preferred this one over the other simply because of the feels that it gives to the reader. This book is quite special to me because it is one book that actually makes the reader feel things that for the characters, and there have been times when people say that when you're reading and you actually become connected to the people who have been written. Like Mariam, she really feels real to you when you're reading it, and even afterwards, like even today, like years after I read this book, if I sit down, I can actually visualize the characters and the troubles that they go through. Also, it's a great insight on the life of the people whom we might hardly not be aware of. So this is one great read. So the next book that I've chosen is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. Again, just like The Thousand Splendid Suns, Markus Zusak's characters are extremely real. On top of that, the narrator of this book is deaf. And the narration is so beautiful. Like the past books, even the characters are real, but even more beautiful here in this book is the descriptions. The way the narration is being done, the way the author describes the color of the sky, the way the author describes the feelings of the character, it is just amazing. Yes, the storyline is phenomenal, the characters are phenomenal, but just the narration takes it to a whole new level, and that is why yes, you should read it. So the next book is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I don't have an individual book, I have this complete novels of Charlotte Bronte and Emily Bronte, but yeah, Jane Eyre. Yes, classics, people think that classics are boring, classics have a very, and they do, the classics have a very typical heroine. If you see any book of this era, you'll have this typical heroine who is, you know who I'm talking about, the same old heroine. But Jane Eyre was a breath of fresh air. Even in class, I did not expect, the first time I was reading, did not expect such a character in a classic novel. I mean, the way she speaks, some of her dialogues, even if you Google some of the Jane Eyre's dialogues, you would be blown away by it. Especially, it was such a breath of fresh air to find such uh, independent female who is not afraid to take risks, who is not afraid to work for herself and make her mark in the world. And everything else aside, Jane Eyre is a wonderful read to read about a woman who is independent, who wants what she wants and is not afraid to just go out alone and carve a name for herself, create her destiny, and take a stand for herself, and yeah, that is why this is definitely one that you should read. So the next book that I've chosen is The Diary of a Young Girl by Annie Frank. The reason being that since this is a true account, you come to know the exact facts of what happened in the war and how people were living during those times. This was a diary that Annie maintained during the time that she was hidden from the Germans, and the people who had helped her were Germans itself. So the hardships that they faced, what was going on in the world, as well as how difficult it is to live for years among the same people with no external contact. And I think that especially people who are still in their teenage and who are actually around the same age, if they read this book, it would be a phenomenal impact on them. And even those who are not, who are adults, but still, it is a wonderful read to understand about the casualties of war and how war can impact the lives of individuals, of kids, of everybody involved. So the next book that I've chosen is again a classic. It is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Now, why Pride and Prejudice? It's simply because it is one of the classics that is lauded for its wit and wisdom. Apart from the love story, which is again a really great love story, but apart from that, what I personally enjoyed was the way Jane Austen writes, the sarcasm that she writes. Like, each and every word is dripping with sarcasm. She makes fun of the people she's writing about, and that is the best way. Like, if you read the book, you would understand that the author is making fun of the society in which the characters are living. At times, she even makes fun of her characters, and it's just too funny. So, read this for the wit, if nothing else. The next book that I've chosen is Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom. The reason that I've chosen this book is that because it makes you think and introspect. You can, this is a very small book, you can read it in like a day or two, but I would not recommend you to read it. I'll recommend you to take it chapter by chapter. Just read a chapter and think what has been said, and it makes you get in touch with yourself. It makes you question your own decisions, and it makes you do things that you might have not thought of doing. And that is why this is one book that I recommend. So the next book that I've chosen is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. The main protagonists of this book are Scout and Jem Fitch, who are little kids, and the whole story is narrated from their point of view. I love the way their father Atticus, who is a lawyer, treats them and works with them. He's a single father, and the way he manages his kids is just brilliant. We need more single fathers like Atticus in literature. Apart from that, it also deals with racism and how little kids, they are not born with racism. So how the people who do not have this racist feeling, how they view the people who are racist. Along with that, this is also about a black man who is accused of raping a white lady, and who is falsely accused of raping a white lady, and the effect of the whole society's prejudiced attitudes towards the black man is excellently portrayed. And that is why this is one book that you should read. So the last but not the least, the book that I've chosen is the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. I have chosen this book simply for personal reasons. I have grown up reading Harry Potter, and it has been a huge part of my life and has impacted my life at a very large degree, to the extent that I don't consider it a book. Like, it is my happy place. Anytime I'm angry, anytime I'm sad, anytime I'm in need of some support, I go to this series. Apart from that, the reason that you should read this book is for its narration. For those who are in the age bracket of 10 to 15, pick the series up, read as you age, and it would just make a tremendous effort. But as an adult, reading Harry Potter would be a different experience altogether, simply because this is about the 11-year-olds, and it does take a little bit of effort to get into the mindsets. But the writing style of J.K. Rowling is something that I am a fan of. Even after the Harry Potter series was completed and she has gone on to write other things, even if the story is not that great, the way she writes it is just amazing. I loved Harry Potter because of the way the dialogues have been written. The dialogue delivery is just spot on. You actually find yourself laughing at some places, especially in the George and Fred Weasley's ones. So yeah, pick this book one, especially if you are an early teen.